Well, that was a surprisingly good show. It was a very good show. Anyway, for any potential listeners who don't know what I'm talking about, look at the title. I'm talking about the pay-per-view just ended, WWE Evolution. And I can honestly say, this was probably the best show that's been done on the main roster in years. Not this year, in years. And I didn't see the entirety of it because I got a bit late to the party. I unfortunately missed the first match. I missed the match between Trish Stratus and Lita versus Alicia Fox and Mickey James. Now, what I will say is that I didn't have great hopes for that match. It wasn't high on my priority list. My list of priorities, I mean. Sorry, distraction. I'm just posting the anyway. I only got in during the what's it called? The Battle Royal. And the Battle Royal was as good as you could get out of a Battle Royal, especially when there was such a varying degree of talent in that Battle Royal. Different women. I must say, I love the Iconics promo at the start. They're so great at just being these annoying bitches. They're amazing. And it's predictable, good, nice booking. The heels come out, run down the old women, and say that I'm going to send them right back to obscurity. They walk inside, they're your heels. They're like, yay, girl power. We're going to fight. Now we're going to win. And the legends beat the shit out of them and throw them outside. It's great. Perfect. Very nice, cute opening to the thing. Completely realistic. There are idiots out there who act this way. And fine. And then the match continued. And, I don't remember the order of the elimination, but it was fine. It's fine. I mean, I had a few moments like Mandy betraying, quote unquote, Sonya. Not quote unquote Sonya, but betraying, quote unquote, Sonya. And then, quote unquote, betraying, whatever. And there was a few spots. Ember Moon had a few nice spots. It was very nice seeing Ember Moon finally defeating Asuka. Problem is that that's the one sad shadow I have over the show. There are two ones, actually, but this was the first one. Asuka should have been the biggest fucking destroyer coming into that. She should have been so over. So when Ember finally beat Asuka after all these years, well, I mean, their feud was last year, but whatever. After all these years, and Asuka having destroyed all of these people, and she didn't need to be champion at that time, she could have lost, but she's coming in now into this battle royal. She's cleaning house. And they're the final two, and Ember throws at Asuka. The crowd would have gone ballistic, and it went ballistic for that. That was the most over moment in the battle royal. Now, I'm not mad at Nia Jax one. I don't think she's that good, but it's fine. I mean, she and Ronda had a pretty good match, and that's something. I think that Ember Moon would have been a better choice. Presuming if they're not turning Nia Jax heel, then I think it's insane that they didn't put in Ember into that position. It would have been a great championship match, and would have been a very nice feel-good moment. That's the one booking I kind of felt a bit iffy about, but still, it's fine. I'm happy overall. Okay, there's not much more to say about the Battle Royal. It's a Battle Royal. It's as good as you could ever expect a Battle Royal to be. Okay, so then we're moving on to the next match, which, if I'm not wrong, it's the Mae Young Classic final. If I don't see if I don't recall incorrectly. That match was also very good. Or that was the first really good match of the show. And I mean, it was the third match, if I remember the order of things here correctly. So that was great. It was a very nice. Well, it was a very nice match. We got Toni Storm and Io Shirai. It was noticeable that the crowd didn't know who they were, but the video package was good, and the match, and they were so good that despite the fact that they didn't try to put on an all-time classic here or anything, they put on a really good match. They showcased each other, and the crowd got more and more into it. And by the end, both of them were rather over. And Toni Storm won. And honestly, it's one of those moments. What I loved about that match, booking wise, is that they had booked themselves into a situation where there wasn't a bad outcome. If Toni wins, that's great. Toni Storm is a superstar. Io Shirai, probably the best wrestler in the company right now. She, Kairi, Asuka, AJ, not saying that it's in that order, but they are the best wrestlers overall that they have. I mean, so that's something. So regardless who won, everyone would have been happy here. So that's great, honestly. And then great match. I loved that they showcased Shirai's athleticism because you don't see that level of aerial wrestling in the women's division in WWE that usually. I mean, they have a lot of. It's not that they're not athletic. It's just that they don't usually showcase that. But she did a lot of cool stuff. She did a great moonsault to the floor, and then later it ended with the Storm Zero in the middle of the ring. Io kicked out of the first Storm Zero that did, mind you, but it was a good match, and that's it. Oh, I have to get. It was actually the first time I've seen someone do a sunset flip impressively. That was a springboard sunset flip, and it looked so crisp and nice. It was great. And then after it, you have a very nice moment where Triple H comes in and gives the trophy to her, and she get flowers and stuff. It's a great moment. The only thing I didn't like was the Stephanie McMahon was there. McMahon was there. Can she please go away? Like I'm sure she's a nice girl. It's not that, or a nice woman. I mean, but Stephanie McMahon was the head of creative for not 10 years, but at least 8-ish years. And in that period, women's wrestling was an afterthought. And after calling it an afterthought would be very generous. They were treated as glorified sex objects, and she was the one in charge of creative. I know that Vince is the final decision maker, but come on, she's his daughter. She could have improved things a long time ago. It's not like there wasn't precedent already. I mean, TNA fucking set precedent in the United States for this kind of thing, and in Japan, and the women's wrestling have been way ahead. So no, I don't think it's nice or right that Stephanie can just come in and hog the credit when it's the fucking wrestlers. They deserve it. They are the ones who made this happen, not her. Go away. Ugh. And okay, and then we got to, I would almost call it the dark horse match of the night. The most surprising, really good match of the night. The Riot Squad versus Sasha Banks, Natalya, and Bayley. I've never seen the Riot Squad in a good match before. Like, as a group, I've seen Rude Riot in some good matches, and I've seen, the other two have been in things. This is the first really good match I've seen. It's great. It was proper tag team psychology. They did proper hot tags. Oh my god, you almost never see that in WWE. You almost never see proper hot tags. And someone will ask, what do you mean by that? I mean that, okay, they cut off, in Bayley, for example. They cut her off, they kept her from tagging out. And in normal WWE psychology, Bayley is going to knock down the current, woman who's in ring with her, and they're going to crawl and tag themselves out roughly at the same time, and then two women are going to run at each other, and the face is going to win the exchange. That's not a proper hot tag. What they did was great. It was masterful how they did it. Like they did a lot of very nice tag team psychology, and they kept Bayley isolated. And Bayley had to do this, had to do that, and then she tried to get out, but it didn't work. And then she had to go back. And I can't describe all the sequences. It was so good. And Sasha Banks was really good. She botched, or if it wasn't a botch, it was perhaps the greatest pretend botch ever, where she tried to do a senton, and she got caught in the ropes, flipped over on her feet, and landed into the arms of the Riot Squad. And if this was improvised, And because she botched, then I have to give the Riot Squad all credit in the world. They threw her right into the barricade. I'm not a fan of that bump after the Finn Balor incident, but it was still really good. It was still a really good moment because they could have fucked it up all. Sometimes wrestlers get, they get caught like deer in the headlights. So it was nice seeing that. The match was long, match was good. Everyone got to showcase their talents, even Natalia. And by the end, the faces won after a triple sequence of, Natalia did a power bomb, and then Bailey did her Macho Man elbow. Think about that for a second. Kairi Sane, like when she was getting into WWE, it was uncertain if she was going to be able to do the top rope elbow because Bailey did that. How times have changed. Anyway, and finally Banks did the frog splash. Now, it was a really good match, but I have two things to talk about. One, that's the second negative shadow I think is cast over this event. Bailey and Sasha should have been way more over, and it's an indictment to the goddamn booking that they've been doing. That they weren't more over. You could there were a few hugger section signs back in the day when Bailey was at her peak, and back in the day I mean like a year or two ago, the entire sections of the arena had the hugger thing, and this was at the event where the most fans of women's wrestling were gathered. But anyway, it was a really good match. I was really surprised. I actually despaired that this match was going to happen. I thought it would suck. I mean, a complete afterthought. But all of the women did great. They did their best to make this match stand out, and it did stand out. It was a really good match. It's actually one of the best tag team matches I've seen on the main roster in this year. So that's something. And then I think maybe it didn't around here this happened because I have to talk about this. How fucking dare WWE advertise for fucking Crown Jewel in the middle of the Evolution pay-per-view? It's a goddamn disgrace. Fuck that shit. Fuck that. Oh, and people are like, oh, advertising, it's their next show. Fuck that shit. You're not advertising on the fucking women's first pay-per-view. You're not advertising for a show set in Saudi Arabia where they're killing women, social activists for, trying to get more equality there. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Fuck them with a rusty fishing pole. Oh, that's an image. Yeah. Okay, that was my rant. They did this twice. And the first time they didn't show it to the arena, but the second time, this time WWE with that time, the crowd showed us what we all felt. So fuck off. You have advertised this show for months now. You can advertise on every fucking day of the week. Why did you do it on the day that the women got to shine? On a show that women can't even go to. I'm sorry. Okay. Next match. Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane. An amazing match. Great match. Shayna is so great. Shayna is an amazing. The shit she does to people. She does this very old school heel joint manipulation shit. And it's so gross and disturbing to look at. It's amazing. I love it. Kairi Sane is the cutest, most adorable entity on the planet. She comes out there with her treasure chest, with booty and the title belt, the greatest treasure. And she goes out throwing out gold coins. She has the pirate thing, and she's amazing. And when they get into the ring and they get there, it's serious now. They're serious. It was a serious fight. It almost like the match felt like they were fighting for their lives. It was great. And then this is the only match that there were shenanigans leading to the finish in that sense. And that's when, Mia Shafir and Jessamine Duke debuted on the main roster / NXT. And I'm fine. I mean, I wasn't a total fan of the ending, but the match was really good. It debuted to debut a new faction. The match didn't end on the DQ or whatever. Even though I think it should have, because considering that the women didn't time it that well, so it looked like the referee should have seen them several times. That's my one complaint. That's actually my second booking complaint of the show, is that the referee sometimes looks very blind, and I don't think that's the best thing. But okay. Beyond that, yeah, I was a great match. Zayn is great. Baszler is great. Zayn is perhaps one of the best babyfaces in the company. Baszler is, she's not the best heel, but she's damn well up there. She's an amazing heel. She is a prodigy if you've ever seen one, especially at her age. Like she's in her late 30s. She's picked it up so well over not a long period of time. She's improved a lot. So yeah, and that's that. And then it was a nice sort of few video packages commenting on the event. And here comes my one complaint about the show. I have two booking things that were like iffy about, but this is my one complaint about the show. The best match on the show came next, the last woman standing match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. That match should have been the main event. Let's just say that now, because it was so great. It was such an amazing match. But I have to comment on something. WWE is strangely like WWE is very weird. They're almost a bipolar company in a way. Not bipolar, but a schizophrenic company or whatever. They are so weird because at the same time they change their mind constantly and like use it on the spur of the moment constantly. But they're also strangely stubborn. If they've gotten an idea and the fans immediately show they don't like it, they're sticking with that idea. It's very weird. Most like companies would switch this around, but not WWE. They are sticking to trying to make Becky Lynch a heel. They're even trying to revise history and putting in fake boos in the promo package, like during the Edge interview and stuff. I'm like, it's so unbelievable, and it makes the company look so stupid. Now to the match. Oh my god, the crowd was electric for that match. It was a really good crowd, and the Nassau Coliseum does not have good crowds usually. Does not have good crowds, but this match had a really good crowd, and it was very clear who they wanted to win. Let's put it that way. Eventually, Charlotte managed to earn a few cheers, but the WWE tried to camouflage it as much as possible, but it looks bad if you do, because she walked on her entrance and they were like, it almost like was completely silent because they muted all the mics and shit. I'm like, just stop doing that. Or just well, just have all the mics off for the entire match then, because it's really weird when it just cuts in and out. And we all know, and that was actually really weird. Cole was horrible during the commentary, by the way, but it was one moment during this match. Two moments I got pissed at it. First one was that, okay, first thing that happens in the match is that Charlotte's like smacks down Becky. She lands on her butt, and she's like starting count, and the referee starts counting because he's asked to count. And Becky gets up and gets Charlotte down, asks her to count. She does a kip up. A little later in the match, Becky, I think, is on her, is back down back on the ground, and the referee starts counting, and Michael Cole, this is the first count of the match. I'm like, what the fuck? The match literally almost opened with the count. What the? Oh, that was horrible. That was so bad. And the second thing was when Cole was like, oh yeah, some people, like Becky Lynch has convinced some people, they believe what she's saying. And she's some people in the universe. I'm like, what do you mean some people? Everyone thinks that way. It's like, polling, like several different polls, online responses in general, crowd reactions, everything indicates that people are siding with her. It's not some people, it's the vast majority, if not everyone. So stop, just shut up, Cole. God damn you, Cole. I hope someone gets that reference, by the way. I had a goddamn you cool T-shirt back in the day, but I don't have it anymore. Anyway, match continues. They get out the toys, kendo sticks, lots of chairs. They're almost like an ECW tribute, and the crowd caught on to it because they started chanting ECW as they threw chairs into the ring and almost filled it up with chairs. And they got that 2 tables eventually, and 2 ladders, and there was a lot of weapon stuff. There was a lot of nice moments. One time the camera people fucked up because Charlotte put Becky in the figure 8 via a ladder, and Becky was crawling towards the chair, and you can see Mike Chioda moving the chair to her with his foot. And I'm like, oh, that's an unfortunate one, but still, it knocks her out, knocks herself free, and they keep trying to push Becky as a heel, and it doesn't work. Nobody takes it that way, but still, she's doing a great job at it, so I can't complain that much. There's a great moment where Becky Lynch beats the shit out of Charlotte, and Charlotte should have lost way earlier in the match than when she actually did, because at several points in the match, like the referee just stops counting to the 10, and one particular moment was when Charlotte was like, "Is this how you got Becky?" at 9, and Becky just stopped giving a shit, fucking pounced her, beat the ever-loving crap out of her, and then buried her in chairs and debris. And then Charlotte got up like a Terminator, and I'm like, this would have been so awesome if that moment had been the reverse. If that had been Becky, the crowd would have gone insane. And the crowd still reacted well to this. But I mean, yeah, it just doesn't work because they made Flair be the babyface, and nobody thinks that way. It just comes off as really forced. But I mean, they did an amazing job. It's not that, but I'm like, yeah, that's a bit distracting. But anyway, and then Becky backs away. She's terrified. And then, and I was afraid the entire match that Charlotte was going to win. I love Charlotte, but it's not her time now. It's Becky's time. And then we go back to the first table they got out. Outside of the ring, Charlotte beats the crap out of Becky, puts her on the table. And I knew at that moment that Becky was going to win because it's the eternal Charlotte Flair rule. Charlotte can never hit a moonsault to the outside. She never does it. Never happens. So that's the moment I knew. Excellent. And then Becky got up to powerbomb her, and the referee was talking, and I'm like, this makes this looks a bit awkward, but still, powerbomb through the table. Becky wins. Everyone's happy. An amazing match. This should have been the main event, without question. And then we get to Ronda versus Nikki Bella. And I know most people probably haven't watched my videos, but I have said a lot of things about the Bella twins. I don't have any personal animosity towards them. They seem like perfectly nice women, and they're empowered, and they do a lot of cool stuff. I think, however, there's a bit of a cognitive dissonance caused whenever you bring them back. Because they were the faces of the Diva brand. Like, AJ Lee was a much bigger star than either of them, or them combined, even, as a wrestler. But she was always an anti-establishment, anti-Diva figure. But they were always like the kind of the epitome of that brand. Now the Diva label has understandably been construed as a bad thing. So bringing them back only brings negative associations with everything. Like it's never nice. You never have like a feel good moment with them there. It's just, no, not a fan of bringing them back. And I think it detracts from the product. And having Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey in a match, and I have to admit, they drew tickets because the build-up was pretty good. They did some nice promos for this, but Simon Gotch has a nice saying, or he has heard this from someone else, but it's a nice saying: the bell must ring at some point. And this match was good. It wasn't that great or anything, but it was good. But the thing is, Nikki Bella does not have credibility as any kind of fighter. Okay, like loads of women on the roster has credibility. Like you can credibility, quote unquote. If they were fighting someone, you could believe it. You can't believe Nikki Bella is a fighter for a second. And the opening of the match showcases this because Ronda Rousey is toying with her. And it's so laughable. And Nikki Bella sells it like a spoiled little girl, and it's amazing. And then they, take Ronda outside. Ronda dominating, but then Bree runs interference, heat spots into the pole, and then Bree later, while the referee is distracted again, into the pole. This is another match where I think DQ should have been in order because the referee saw them several times and it got really weird. But still, and then my complaint about this match. They got Ronda to start selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. And Ronda Rousey is an amazing seller, but you can't believe it for a second. There's such a your suspension of disbelief goes completely out to the window in this match. It's just not possible. You can't believe it for a second. It's just weird. So eventually, Rousey gets back into control, and I didn't like the way they did this match. The match was still good, but I didn't like the way they booked it. Ronda Rousey should have mauled Nikki Bella from start to finish. It should have been a Brock Lesnar versus John Cena match from SummerSlam 2014. Maybe with a little more variety in the moves department, but it should have. Ronda Rousey should have treated Nikki Bella to a clinic of pain. And I like the spot at the end where Rousey counters, or not counters, but launches Nikki from the top rope, rolls it through the air, and puts her in the armbar on the ground. Nikki also can't tap. It was very like, you can't see me. It wasn't a good tap out. But still, great. It was a good match. And this was the best main roster pay-per-view I've seen in years. They left the crowd happy. The right people won. They didn't do shit to let's get some heat. No, they got the right people to win. Everyone, there wasn't bullshit that much. Like the match, all the matches for the most part were good, or at least decent. They showcased a lot of different styles, and there was a good spread of proper, like, competitive. We all both respect each other, face versus face, sportsmanship matches. There was like grudge matches from hell, like with Charlotte and Becky. There was like really brutal, almost kind of like an underground sort of fight feel to it with Shayna versus Kyrie. You got a lot of cathartic moments. It was great seeing it. It left the crowd happy. It was nice seeing Ronda and all the women embrace each other, except Becky Lynch. She was not there because kayfabe, and at least I didn't see her there. It's overall an amazing show, and shame on WWE for not promoting this better. I mean, they promoted it spread out across several different brands, but they should have had more heavily promoted this thing. This was the best event they've done in years, outside of NXT. They should do events like this more often. That's all I'm saying. Because, yeah, this was great. This was great stuff. And I hope to see more of it. Anyway, I could rant on about how great this show was for quite some time. I will say that it was better than All In. I like this more than All In. And that's going to be sacrilege. Yeah, I know. Oh, actually, there was one thing that universally just pissed me off. I didn't like the dance break in the middle of a match. And I know that's kind of Carmella's character now, but fuck that. That's why I don't watch the Mixed Match Challenge, because it neuters everyone's characters. And no. You can have comedy in wrestling, but for fuck's sake, try to treat it a little bit with respect. And treat it a little bit seriously. Anyway, it's almost 4 in the morning. So I will leave it at that. I recommend everyone to watch this and have a good night.